Hello, my name is Zachary Smith. Today I'm going to be talking about how I refinished this Squier made in Japan Bullet. It's got a Strat kind of body and a telly neck, bit of an odd guitar. It used to be black, and so today I'm talking about how all the steps I went through to refinish this guitar. Alright, so I have my guitar out here. This is the 1983 Squier Bullet that I've been refinishing. And so you can see it's come out pretty nice. I have just let this cure for about 10 days, and the oil has pretty much all dried. It has a nice kind of smooth finish now. I used this oil, which is a conditioning oil for cutting boards, but it worked out pretty well. And then I just did about 20 coats of that on here. So see if I can give you a nice look while I'm giving it this final polish here. So I'm going to do a little bit of 1200, a little bit of 15. Then I'm going to jump right into, this is basically polishing at 2000 and 2500. So I got this little sanding block and this package of sandpaper on Amazon. It was $10 or something, and it's been really helpful because it has all the grits. They're all cut to size, and you can just easily throw it on and you're off. And I used this sandpaper to take off the paint first, and then I've been using it to just get a nice you can see there's some kind of interesting marks that definitely made this guitar not one that you would have been a candidate for being a blonde finish, but for my purposes it's pretty good. Okay, so that's basically all I'm doing. I'm just going to do the same thing for the next 3 grits. We have 1500 here, 2000, and then 3000. So after that, I'll catch up. I'm going to be putting the guitar together. So here we are in the studio. I have the guitar all polished up. This is a 1983 Squier Bullet. And so I just refinished this body. I'm just going to put it back together. See how that goes. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is get the body ready. So I'm going to put this bridge back in. This is the original bridge. I tried to find a replacement, but ran into some difficulties finding the correct sizing. So here's the bridge plate. I'm gonna put the end ones in first to make sure everything's lining up nicely. Then put in the middle ones. Okay, so I'm gonna put these other screws in. I'm gonna start with these middle ones. Now the front edge of this bridge plate, it goes up a little bit, so you can in fact pull the whole bridge up with the screws. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on how far they're going down. I don't want to start pulling it up. Right now it's just kind of using gravity to rest flat on the body of the guitar. And the last one. I'm not going to fine tune this too much right now. That's going to be part of getting the right tension on this. So, yeah. Anyways, I think I'm pretty happy with the way that looks so far. So then moving on, the next piece is these here, the electronics. And so with these, this is, as far as I understand, this is the original pickguard and pickups. But one of the interesting things about this guitar is that I know in 1983 they were using some US parts. I'm not sure about these pots, but this switch is made in USA. Okay, so I have this wire, which I'm going to use as the grounding wire in my guitar here, and so before I put the pick guard on, I just want to make sure it's coming out the other side and soldered on properly. This wire is not as thick as the original wire, but it's going to serve the purpose, I think. So what I'm going to do, I'll tilt the camera down in a sec here. I have my soldering iron ready to go. I'm going to solder, of course, one end here to, this is the grounding wire coming off, so I'm just going to solder this end here. I like to have, this is a bit extreme, but quite a long cable, so that if I want to pull off the pick guard, I have enough space to move things around. You know, I can set the pick guard to the side and there's still enough cable to get there, so I always add a little extra cable if I'm replacing the grounding wire. So I'm going to solder one end here, but before I do that, I'm going to solder one end. I guess I cut this one off. I'm going to cut this original. I'm going to cut this other one off and solder in place this new cable, which is running through the body to the other side. So here is the old one, which I'm just going to heat up here. If my soldering iron is hot enough yet. Yes, it is. Okay. So we're just getting that hot. Going to tin the tip. Then I'm going to stick this end here. Just going to heat up some of the hotter solder that's there. And then get this one in there. Now what's happened is that the solder that was here, so this is some of the original solder to the guitar, and my soldering iron will not melt it. I don't know what kind of solder they're using, but yeah, not something that I can work with very well. So I'm just trying to solder on top of their solder with some of my solder, which I can melt. Not the prettiest job, but it'll do the trick. And so then I'm going to feed this wire through the guitar, out the other side, and so now you can see I ended up with quite a bit of extra here, which is great. I'm just going to cut on my pickup here a little bit of the old stuff off. I do have some heat shrink, so I'm just going to throw that on here for after. So first I'm just gonna tin this tip again. Okay, so I have these two tinned tips. I'm going to put these two together like this. Okay, I think we have a connection here. So, it's a little warm still. So I'm just gonna bring this up. I'm just gonna leave that in place. I'll do the heat shrink once I have confirmed that everything is in fact working. So as this goes in, I just kind of roll up the extra long cable there. And now I'm going to screw down this pick guard. Hopefully I have all the screws still. Some of these are kind of rusted out, so I tend to put the nicer ones at the top of the guitar. Because those are the ones I'll see all the time. Okay, so we're just getting this pickguard lined up. Starting to look like a guitar now with pickguard. One of the interesting things about this 1983 Squier is that, sorry, so one of the interesting things with this 1983 Squier is that it is a 7/8 Strat sized body. So this is smaller than a Strat, but it's exactly the same shape, except for that it's not a carved back. So it's quite an interesting feeling guitar. It reminds me of kind of some kind of like a Bronco maybe, or a guitar. It almost has an offset kind of feel because it's such a bizarre mix of parts with a telly neck and a 7/8 Strat size body. It has that kind of this is unusual thing going on. With this guitar, you know, I'm looking for something that's going to be a pretty good workhorse, but I'm not too worried about it, you know, being perfect, you know, looking, or as long as it's, you know, plays well and sounds good. I'm going to put in the so I'm going to screw in here the end pin. One thing I'm curious about in the look of this guitar is how's the body going to match the neck, which is you know, a maple board telly neck. Okay, so put in this strap piece as well. All right, well, that looks like a guitar body to me. The cool thing, I guess, I think this is kind of a cool look. I'm not sure if you can see super well on the camera, but there's kind of some black speckling in here. And it is also the same on this side, which is the same piece of wood. I don't know if that was because like some of the black paint got super deep into this wood. I suspect that's the case, but and I just didn't, you know, couldn't sand off 2 millimeters just to get that last bit of stuff out of there. But it has a cool look. I think it, you know, kind of gives it a bit of a speckled kind of
look, which is cool. You're not going to see a lot of blonde finished guitars like this, which are made of 4 pieces. You can see this one piece on the end is just literally, you know, this edge. It's not up here, it's just down there. And then, of course, this is the other piece, which is just that. You can see the line right there. Okay, well, let's put the neck on this thing. So again, here's the Squier Bullet made in Japan neck. It has the truss rod at this end. You can see on here it says 83. 83, 12, 12, 83. I'm not sure what the 12, 12 means. Could be the date. Could be a few other things. Okay, so let's put this neck on. I have the original shim, which is an interesting. It says 5812 on it. That's got to stay with the guitar, I'd say. And then I added a little extra on top of that. So we'll see where we're at with that amount of shim. Again. And we have the SQ serial number here. Can put that on. Wow. Nice to see this guitar back together. Yeah, so this project has taken about, maybe 2 months. So it's been 2 months since I've been able to play this guitar, which is a while. Only got 2 electric guitars. You miss one of them for sure. And I do have been doing some live streaming concerts these days, so I might get this thing playing tonight if it comes together. We'll see. Okay, the neck is on. It looks cool. There's the whole thing. So let's just get some springs on this thing and some strings. Unfortunately, I could only find these have a lot of strings, but not the right ones today. These are flat wounds, light gauge, but they're still pretty heavy. So we'll have to see if this guitar can handle it. If not, I'll have to order some more strings before I can really get this thing going. So I'm just going to put the springs on here. Let's tilt this down. So I typically will just put it in there. One string. This guitar when I bought it, only had 3 springs. I think I would like to get 4 or 5 springs on here. Just stiffen it up because it's pretty loose, but does the trick. I'm just going to make sure I don't go on top of this grounding wire. The way I understand it is basically your grounding is even running through these springs and into this plate. Alright, so I'm going to string this thing up. And see where we're at. Be interesting to have a Strat style guitar with flat wounds on it. I don't think that's the most common arrangement. Okay, I'm going to turn the video off because if you're watching this, you probably know how to put strings on a guitar. Alright, well, there she is. She's got some strings on. Looking pretty good. The action's not terrible. It's kind of weird with the flat wounds, but I think I'll live with that for a bit. I got to adjust the intonation still. That needs a bit of work. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. I'm going to adjust the intonation quickly here. I just have my my Boss TU2, which is maybe not the best tuner for intonation purposes, but it'll... Thanks for watching. I make a new video every week on DIY projects, guitars, recording, the music industry. If that sounds like something you're into, please like and subscribe. Thanks.